Hello everybody and welcome. This is the Shy Hat and it is December 20th, 2023 and we're doing the Advent of Cyber event over at the TryHackMe cybersecurity education platform. I'm going to leave a link to the challenge over here in the chat, so you can take a look at it if you so desire. But yeah, we're almost to the end of this series of beginner-friendly cybersecurity challenges. We've been doing the challenges starting at from the 1st of December until today, the 20th of December, and we only have 4 more days to go. All right. So with that being said, let's start the challenge. All right, so today's challenge is about DevSecOps. Gray Fox is here, and he says, "What's up? What's up to you, Gray Fox? Nice to see you here." All right, so we're doing DevSecOps today. The first thing you want to do is you want to click on the Start Machine button over here. That's going to start the virtual machine that we're going to need to interact with for today's challenge. So. And we also need to start up the attack box for today's challenge. So what you need to do is you need to scroll up to the top of the web page and click on this Start Attack Box button right over here. And that's going to create a split pane view where the web page is on the left-hand side and the attack box virtual machine is on the right-hand side. So while we're waiting for this machine to initialize over here, what we're going to do is we're going to read a little bit about the challenge we're going to be solving today. Okay, so one of the main reasons the Best Festival Company acquired Antarcticrafts was their excellent automation for building, wrapping, and crafting. Their new automation pipelines made it much safer, easier, faster, scalable, and effective process. However, someone has tampered with the source control system and something weird is happening. It's suggested that McCready has impersonated some accounts or teamed up with rogue frostlings. Who knows what will happen if a malicious user gains access to the pipeline? In this task, we're going to explore the concept of poisoned pipeline execution, otherwise known as PPE, in a GitLab CI/CD environment and learn how to protect against it. You'll be tasked with identifying and mitigating a potential PPE attack. A GitLab instance for Antarcticrafts CI/CD automates everything from sending signals and processing Best Festival Company services to building and updating software. However, someone has tampered with the configuration files and the logs show unusual behavior. Some suspect the frostlings have bypassed and gained access to our build process. All right, so what are our learning objectives for today? In today's task, you will learn about poisoned pipeline execution, understand how to secure CI/CD pipelines, get an introduction to secure software development cycles, SSDLC, and DevSecOps, and we're going to learn about CI/CD best practices. Okay, so first we're going to read a little bit about GitLab and SDLC concepts. SDLC is software development lifecycle. GitLab is a platform that enables collaboration and automation throughout the software development lifecycle, which is the framework structure that describes the stages that code goes through from design and development to deployment. GitLab is built around Git, a distributed version control system, VCS, where code is managed. All right, so we see here that our attack box is initialized, and what we need to do is we need to put the attack box in its own browser tab, so that we can see it, so that it doesn't take up all the space while we're trying to read here on the web page. So what we can do is we can click on this button right here at the bottom of the screen, which is labeled View in Full Screen. So we click on that, and that's going to open up a new browser tab where our attack box virtual machine is going to live. Okay, so we click on the terminal window, press enter to close it, and then we're going to go back to the web page over here in this tab, and then we're going to close out this portion over here so that we can see the full screen view of the web page once more. What we need to do is we need to go down to the bottom here and click on this button here, which is Exit Split View. So click on that, and then we can see the web page in full screen again. We're going to scroll down to where we were. Okay, so what were we talking about? We were talking about a few key components of Gitlab. Gitlab is a version control system. A VCS is an environment where you manage and track changes made in the code base. It makes it easier to collaborate with others and maintain the history and versioning of a project. CI/CD pipelines. Pipelines automate the building, testing, and deployment processes. Pipelines ensure that code is consistently integrated, tested, and delivered to the specified environment, production, or staging. And security scanning. Gitlab has a few scanning features, like incorporating static application security testing, SAST, dynamic application security testing, DAST, container scanning, and dependency scanning. All these tools help identify and mitigate security threats in code and infrastructure. All right, so what are we doing? What are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking a lot about CI/CD. What are these things? We mentioned CI/CD earlier in the context of pipelines. CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Continuous integration, CI, is referring to integrating code changes from multiple contributors into a shared repository where code is stored in a VCS. You can think of this as a folder structure. In GitLab, CI allows developers and engineers to commit code frequently, triggering automations that lead to builds and tests. This is what CI is all about, ensuring that code changes and updates are continuously validated, which reduces the likelihood of vulnerabilities when introducing security scans and tests as part of a validation process. Here we are entering the remit of DevSecOps. Okay, and the other part is continuous development. CD automates code development to different environments. During SDLC, code travels to environments like sandbox and staging, where the tests and validations are performed before they go into the production environment. The production environment is where the final version of an app or service lives, which is what we, as users, tend to see. CD pipelines ensure that code is securely deployed consistently and as part of DevSecOps. Integrating security checks before deployment to production is key. Okay, so we just mentioned DevSecOps. We have to mention that integrating security into CI/CD ensures consistency and threat reduction when integrating it into the SDLC. This is what DevSecOps aims to achieve. Everything we have seen so far is part of the cultural and technical approach that aims to improve collaboration, automation, and CI/CD. It's what we call developer operations, or DevOps for short. DevSecOps was born from DevOps and is an extension specializing in security for DevOps practices. Okay, so we're taking a look at CI/CD attacks. In this case, it is called PPE. In today's AOC, you will learn about poisoned pipeline execution. This type of attack involves compromising a component or stage and the SDLC. For this attack to work, it takes advantage of the trusted boundaries established within the supply chain, which is extremely common in CI/CD where automation is everywhere. When an attacker has access to version control systems and can manipulate the build process by injecting malicious code into the pipeline, they don't need access to the build environment. This is where the poisoned pipelines come into play. It's crucial to have effective secure gates and guardrails to prevent malicious code from getting far if there is an account compromise. Okay, so the scenario for today is, it's the season of giving, but the Frostlings have invaded the Antarcticraft's GitLab CI/CD pipeline. They have found a way to poison the pipeline, orchestrating the Advent calendar build process for this holiday season. Your mission as a DevSecOps engineer is to uncover and mitigate this attack to ensure the calendar doesn't suffer from malicious alterations. Okay, so here we have a little card about how to get started with today's challenge. We've already activated the attack box and the virtual machine. We see here that we have this address, IP address for our virtual machine. So we don't need to, we can skip over this. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go to this IP address. You're going to copy this because it's going to be different for every user, and we need to go to our attack box in our separated browser tab, and then we're going to open up the web browser inside of the attack box, which would be from this shortcut here or this shortcut here. So click on either one of those. And then it'll take a little while to start up. What we need to do is inside of the URL address bar, we're going to paste over with the URL that we copied from the web page, and then we're going to click into it. And this is going to bring us to our GitLab login page. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that we can see a little bit better. We're going to go back to the web page to get further instructions. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to log into GitLab using this username and password. Okay, so the username is DevSecOps, and the password is TryHackMe with an exclamation point. So let's do that now. So inside the GitLab login page, it is DevSecOps, and the password is TryHackMe with an exclamation point, and click on sign in. Okay, so we see that we're inside of GitLab now, and that we have one project over here. Let's go back to the web page to see what's going on. After logging in, if you see a warning that specifies adding an SSH key, you can ignore it, as we will be using the web editor. Okay, so upon login, you should see the AOC DevSecOps/Advent Calendar BFC. Okay, so this is the project right here. Inside of the attack box, we're going to click on the attack box tab, and we can click on this to enter the project in GitLab. All right. Let's take a look at the project. It is a workflow for the Advent Calendar site by the Best Festival Company, built by Antarcticrafts. If we check the repository, we see that it uses Apache to host an index.html file. Okay, so they're talking about the repository tab right here. So click on that. And then we see an overview of the Advent Calendar project over here. All right. And then we go back to the web page. The configuration, we check the repository and we see that it uses Apache to host an index.html file. The configuration file, GitLab ci.yml, is written in YAML format for GitLab CI/CD. It defines a series of jobs and stages that will be executed automatically when code changes are pushed to the Advent Calendar BFC repository. Let's break it down to see what it does. Okay, so what we see here is a series of bash commands. So this is kind of like a bash script, and what it does is it creates a Docker container with a specific name, and then it executes Docker to start up the container, and then it stops the Docker container, and then it deletes the Docker container. All right. So workflow. Workflow describes a CI/CD workflow for the value assigned to the commit branch. Install dependencies stage. If the pipeline is triggered by any branch, it installs dependencies if there are any. In this case, it echoes a message indicating the installation step. Before script stage, it checks for the existing Docker container with a specific name, stops and removes it if found. This way, whenever a new job runs, there won't be clashes with previously running containers. The test stage. It executes in the test stage of the pipeline, runs a Docker container named this affectionate Saha based on the HTTPD latest image. And number 3, binds a volume from the local directory to the container's web server directory. And it maps ports to 9080 on the host port 80 on the container. And artifacts, it specifies the contents of the public / directory, and then rules. The test stage runs only if the pipeline is triggered on the main branch. So all of these are steps inside of the YAML file, which are executed whenever we want to do deployment. Okay, so for our investigation, Detective Frosteau received reports that the Advent Calendar site has been stuck in a testing phase for a few weeks. However, the team is acting strangely and the site has been acting up. As a DevSecOps engineer, you must help Detective Frosteau understand what's happening. We can start by checking if there are any merge requests or attempts. Merge requests appear when someone has new code or an updated project version and wants to update the code base with the new changes. In other words, they want to merge it. Let's take a look at the merge requests. Click on the merge request tabs on the left-hand drop-down. Changes can be seen on the merge tab. Look at the update Gitlab ci.yaml changes. Okay, so we're going to go over to the attack box and we're going to look at the merge requests tab. So here we have merge requests. Okay, there are 0 of them here, but let's click on this one here. And we see that there aren't any merge requests, all right? There is some activity made for testing. It looks like Frostlino has opened a merge request with some code updates, explaining that it's for testing purposes. DELF lead approved and merged the changes. It seemed no code review was done and it was merged directly. Okay, so if we take a look at the merge requests, and we take a look at this tab right here, which is merged, we see that this file over here was updated, okay, and it was approved. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's check the job logs. Job logs show all the workflows triggered and the jobs that have run or are running. On the same menu on the left-hand side, select Jobs from the drop-down menu in the CI/CD. Okay, so we're going to, inside the merge requests section in the drop-down, we're going to click on Jobs. Okay, merge requests. Okay, so it's not in the merge requests, it's in the CI/CD. So we're going to click on Jobs inside of here. All right, and we see a bunch of jobs that have been previously run. All right. Check the jobs that have been executed. At first glance, the testing jobs have been running, just like the detective said. However, teams have complained that the production site has been acting up. The testing environment shouldn't be affecting the website in the production environment. In the rules section of the Gitlab ci.yaml file, the branch shouldn't trigger a job if the branch is not main. Okay, so this is the code that ensures that. Branches are ways to track changes and work. They are copies of the repository where developers and engineers work on changes. When they are ready, they merge the branch. In other words, they add their code to the main branch, which is the version the workflow uses to build the site. Checking the calendar site. It looks like, let's take a look at the Advent Calendar website. Navigate to the IP's machine address and type in the port you saw in the Docker command run in the config file. Okay, so what we can do here is we're going to open up a new browser tab and we're going to get our IP address from over here. We're going to copy that. Whoops. Click the wrong button there. Okay, we're going to copy that. And then we're going to paste it into the new tab. And then we're going to look up the port that we need to access. So what we can do inside of the repository, we're going to look at our GitLab ci.yaml file. And we see here that the container is being run on this particular port right here. inside of the container. So what we can do is we can copy this, and then in the other browser tab, we're going to put a colon here to indicate that that we're accessing a specific port, and then paste in the port number, and then press enter, and that gives us access to the Docker container that's running. So here we see that the advent calendar page has been defaced, and that it's been defaced with this graffiti here that says Frostling's rule. So we should remember this because it's one of the questions we're going to have to answer later. But back at the web page, let's take a look at what's going on. So, oh no, it's been defaced, possibly by Frostlings. The detective was right. Let's check the pipeline logs. We're going to navigate to the pipeline section from the CI/CD dropdown on the left-hand side, and you should see a view like this. Okay, so we're going to go to pipelines. So inside of the attack box, we're going to go back to the GitLab page, and then we're going to click on pipelines. Where is pipelines? Okay, so it's in CI/CD over here, and then pipelines. Okay, so that's what the web page wants. Let's take a look. We should see a view like this. Yes, we're looking at it right now. This section shows all the pipelines triggered. Pipelines are grouped jobs. They run based on the config ci.yaml file declarations we looked at before, declaring the jobs to be run. Selecting any of the pipelines and clicking on the past box should take you to the individual pipelines view. Okay, and it should look like this. So if we select any one of these and clicked on the past button, it's going to look like this. All right. Let's go back to the web page. Click on a test job and be wary of the arrow button to rerun the job. Nothing bad should happen. Feel free to try. After clicking on test, it should take you to the build logs. You should see who triggered the job and what is attempting to run. Investigate the logs. There has been a lot of testing activity. This type of behavior is not expected. At first glance, we can see commands and behavior unrelated to the advent calendar built for the Best Festival company. An incident and investigation needs to be opened. Okay, so let's try this out. Inside of here, we're going to click on this test button over here for retry. Click on that. Okay, and I'm not too sure. I think we need to click on jobs. Not completely sure about this. After clicking on test, it should take you to the build logs. Okay, so we're going to click on this. Okay, so this is these are the individual tasks that are happening inside of the test. All right. So is there anything fishy happening here? Okay, what we should do is we should look at the web page and it'll tell us what to do. So the incident. As discussed in the previous section, new code changes have been implemented. Based on the discussions in the merge requests, some jobs have been approved without review and merged by Frostlino. He seems to have many privileges. Are they exploiting its power? That's up to Frostlino to decide. For now, let's focus on mitigation. We can see malicious code has been added as part of the test, and the rules have been changed so that the commands in test are the ones that go into production. This looks highly suspicious. Let's break down what is happening. We can see that various commands are being executed, including the following. Okay, print user information. Who am I prints the username of the current user executing the script. And pwd prints the current working directory. Okay, it lists content, directory contents, ls-la. Okay, it's going to get the information from the Linux file directory, and it's going to get the files inside of this hidden folder public. It lists detailed information about the files and directories within the public directory. It's going to do HTML content generation. An HTML file is dynamically created using an echo command. The file now contains an image of a defaced advent calendar. And number 4, content, Docker content deployment. The script uses Docker to deploy a containerized instance of the Apache web server named whatever is passed to the container name. The container is mapped to port 9081 on the host, and the .public directory is mounted to the /user local Apache 2 htdocs within the container. In the conclusion, the test step performs various tasks to deface the calendar. It looks like Frostlino has joined Tracy McCready's scheme to damage Best Festival Company's reputation by defacing our Advent calendar. Okay, so let's take a look at what is going on inside of here. So we see here on line 17, line 19, line 21. So it is listing out all of the directories inside of the container, and then it runs the Docker container name. I guess here is where they're writing out the defaced calendar and putting it up on the web page. This section right here, but it's a bit small. I apologize for that. I don't think we can make this any bigger. Let me try. No, that makes it smaller. Okay, sorry about that. I highly recommend that you look at this image yourself when you complete the challenge. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Okay, so what's going on? You should now be able to see the commit history like in the image below. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the commit history. So inside of repository, we can click on commits. So here, so repository here, and then click on commits. Okay, so these are all the different updates made to the code base over time. Find the commit with the original code, which delf lead should have added. After clicking the commit, you can select the View File button on the top right corner to copy the contents. All right, so what we need to do is we need to find the commit with the original code, and I think it is this one right here. So on December 6, 2023, the first one here is adding test deploy pipeline for calendar. So that should be the one that we need to look at. We're going to click on that. And we see here that this is the code inside of this commit. Okay. You can select the View File button on the top right corner to copy the contents. Okay, so View File button on the top right corner. So top right corner. Okay, so these are the files involved. Go back to the repository and click on the configuration file .gitlab ci.yaml. Then click the edit button. Okay? go back to the repository, then click on the configuration file. All right, so repository is this button right here. Click on that. And then we're going to click on this file that they indicated right here. And we can see the code for this YAML file over here. Then click on the edit button, edit in pipeline editor. Okay, so edit. Okay, so we're going to click on that. You can't edit files directly in the project. Fork this project and merge. I think we've done something incorrectly. Okay, let's go back. So click on the edit in pipeline editor. Okay, so we're just going to click on this fork button just so we can get this going. Okay, let's go back to the web page to see what's going on. So edit the file and add the correct code copied from the commit we identified earlier. Okay, click commit and wait for the job to finish. Everything should go back to normal. To remediate these type of attacks, we can do several things. Preventing unauthorized repository changes. Enforce protected branches to prevent unauthorized users from pushing changes to branches. Add a protected branch by navigating to the repository settings, and then repository. In the protected branches section, click expand. Scroll down and change the allowed to push to no one. Everyone must open a merge request and get the code reviewed before pushing it to the main branch. Okay, so I'm going to admit here that I haven't worked too much with GitLab. So this is I've only ever interacted with GitLab a couple of times. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to finish the challenge. So let's. So to finish the challenge, what we need to do is we need to answer the questions below. Okay, so here, what is the handle of the developer responsible for the merge changes? So this question over here, we can get the answer by going to and we're going to go down, we're going to go back to the main repository page. And we're going to click on commits here. And we see that the person who did the commits was this person right here, Frostlino. And if you hover over it, we see that Frostlino's address or his username right here is DevSecOps, which is just up over there, and that is the question. This is the answer for the first question. So here, the handle of the developer responsible for the merge changes is DevSecOps, and that's the answer. Okay, so the question over here: what port is the defaced calendar server site server running on? If you remember from the YAML file, it is 8091. It is 9081. Okay, 9081. What server is the malicious server running on? Okay, so what kind of server is it running? If you remember from before, it is an Apache server. what message did the Frostlings leave on the defaced site? Okay, if you remember from the from visiting the web page, it is Frostlings rule. And what is the commit ID of the original code for the Advent calendar site? Okay, so if we go to the to this right here, which is the original commit for the Advent calendar site, it is this entry right here under December 6th, 8 commits. So this is the ID number over here. We can copy that, and then we can use that as the answer. Okay, and the other two questions right here don't need specific answers, so we can just click on completed. Okay, so that is the end of that challenge. I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to fix the website by doing what they suggested over here, which is copying the code, and then we're going to try to edit in the pipeline. So here we're going to click on this commit, and this code right here, I think we can copy all this code by clicking on this button right here. Oh, that's the file path. Maybe we can just copy all of it like this. Okay, and we're going to copy that. And then what was the other step? Find the commit with the original code. Okay, we did that. Go back to the repository and click on the configuration file, then click the edit button. Okay, go back to the repository, click on the configuration file, back to the repository, click on the configuration file, which should be this right here. Then click on the edit button. So edit this file only. Okay, I think that's the button we need to. So here, we're going to edit this file only. And we're going to click edit. And then we're going to highlight everything. And then we're going to paste. And then we're going to click on commit changes over here. Okay, now if we go over to this over here and we refresh the page, then the Advent Challenger should not have the graffiti on here. Okay, we refresh the page, enable connect. Okay, so let me go back to the web page here. Click on the edit button, edit the file and add the correct code. Okay, click commit and wait for the job to finish. Everything should go back to normal. Okay, so we're going to reload the page. Edit the file and add the correct code. Okay, click commit and wait for the job to finish. Now, how do we know when the job is finished? I guess we can go to CI/CD jobs. Okay, I'm sorry everybody, but yeah, this is the first time I've interacted with GitLab, so not completely familiar with how it works. But on the TryHackMe page, we managed to get all the information to answer the questions. I suggest everybody who's interested to keep on playing around with the site to see if we can follow the instructions exactly as the web page tells us to do. Yeah, I mean, this is what we're here for. We're here to learn new things, and we can't always execute perfectly on the tasks over here, unfortunately. But yeah, we're going to be back tomorrow to finish day 21 of the Advent of Cyber event. Until next time, I hope everybody had fun, and I hope everybody learned some new stuff. And we'll be back to solve more beginner cybersecurity challenges tomorrow. But until then, see you next time.